Welcome to the video Vort. The Sefer Shemos begins with a seemingly unnecessary pasuk. The Eila Shemos b'nei Yisrael, these are the names of the brothers who came down to Egypt. Yosef haya b'Mitzrayim, and Yosef was living in Egypt. Why does the Torah tell us that Yosef was living in Egypt? We know that already. Rashi already asks this question and answers that also Yosef, the same Yosef that had been a lowly shepherd in Canaan in his father's home, also Yosef, the same Yosef, rose to power and prominence in Egypt. The same tzaddik as he was in his father's house, the same tzaddik was in Egypt. So says Rashi. However, the question can be broadened, and that is, why does the Torah even bother to tell us the names of the sons of Yaakov who came down to Mitzrayim? We know that already. That too is patently obvious. So why is the Torah pointing out what we already know? Shraga Feivish Palak in his Sefer HaTishbi suggests the following. When the brothers came down to Egypt, they could have easily said to themselves, our brother is the second in command in Egypt. He's the equivalent of the king. We are now the first family of Egypt, and it is time for us to take our rightful place amongst high society in Egypt. And the first thing to go, the first thing to shed is their name, their identity. No, says Rav Palak, the Torah is pointing out the Eila Shemos b'nei Yisrael, that the brothers did not fall prey to the allure of power and prestige that high society Egypt could afford them. That despite their new position as brothers to Yosef, nevertheless, Eila Shemos b'nei Yisrael, they retained their names, they retained their identity throughout their stay. And not only that, this explains the Yosef haya b'Mitzrayim. Why does the Torah tell us what we already know, that Yosef was in Egypt? Because not only did Yosef have this same challenge of fitting in to and feeling the allure of the high society of Egypt, of the power and prestige that his position afforded him. Paro himself offered Yosef a new name, a new identity. Tzafnas Paneach. And Yosef could have thought to himself, it would be a great insult to Paro not to assume that name, not to assume that identity. And it's very easy to fall into that trap. Well, you know, it's the right thing to do. It would be an insult to Paro. Have to fit in. No, says Rav Palak. The Yosef haya b'Mitzrayim. Yosef was in Egypt. He neither shed his identity, he didn't shed his name, even though Paro himself gave Yosef the easy out. Even though by Paro's giving him that name, it certainly put a certain pressure upon Yosef. The brothers retained their names. Yosef retained his name, despite the power, despite the pressure, despite the prestige. And just as Yosef and his brothers did in Egypt, so should we do in our lives, in our day and age today. Good Shabbos.